So I'm trying something new for you all. Today, I'm sharing my portfolio update for June 2025. I'll dive into my top 10 holdings, show you prices, trailing 12-month yields, year-to-date performance, and I'll also explain why I invest this way. I'll also get into what my next strategy is, and I'm planning to do this every month just so you all can see how I'm adjusting my portfolio to build my income snowball. Let's get into it. Welcome back, Rico here. I try to be as transparent as possible on this channel, and in that vein, I'm trying this new thing. I'm gonna start sharing my monthly performance and what I've been doing in my portfolio. Hopefully this will help you in your investing journey and maybe entertain you along the way. And just as a reminder, this is never investing advice. I'm just sharing some of the things I'm doing, and I always encourage you to do your own research. My approach and my goals may not align with yours, so always take that into consideration. I do what I want to do, you do what you want to do. Make sure you understand your goals and do your research. Okay, really quickly, a quick plug. I use Snowball Analytics for all of my tracking and data analysis. I also use TradingView and Fidelity, but Snowball gives me a lot of insights on how I'm doing and helps me plan my future income. No, I'm not sponsored. Don't get any affiliate links, but it's a great tool. So my annual dividend income for 2025 is projected at just over $80,000. And that's if I don't contribute anymore and took all of my distributions. Not bad considering the average annual salary in the US is just over $66,000 a year. For my goals, I aim for an overall 12 to 14% portfolio yield, but right now I'm pulling in just over 20%, but that's intentional. Being semi-retired, I still have some active income, but slowly replacing that as I build my dividend snowball. Today, I'm living off about half or 50% of these distributions, and then I set aside 30% for taxes, and then I reinvest the 20% that's left over into steady growth and dividend performers like QQQI, SPYI, and JEPQ. And this approach gives me a raise every single year. And while doing that, still hitting that 12% average yield. Before we jump into my top 10 holdings, there are a few things I'd like you all to keep in mind as we go through this list. This is just my tax brokerage account. I also have a rollover 401k from all my past jobs, and I also have a Roth IRA that I always max out every year. Those are more focused on growth since I can't access them for at least another 10-ish years. And I just heard about Social Security changing too, so. Okay, and depending on your goals, you don't always want to keep all your eggs in one basket. I have multiple portfolios, whether it's investing, real estate, crypto, stocks, and I also have an emergency fund just in case the markets go sideways. And I have 26 holdings in this brokerage account, and I'm only going to go over the top 10, but those top 10 account for roughly 80% of the portfolio, so it's a major chunk of it. And comment down below if you'd like to see them all. I can throw them into a Google Sheet and share it if you'd like. I don't know how interested you would be. There's some really small holdings in there, but if you want to see it, let me know. Now, let's get into the top 10. All right, starting at number 1 on my list is QQQI, which is the NEOS NASDAQ 100 High Income ETF. This makes up roughly 21% of my portfolio, and the current share price is about $52 as of date of this recording, with a dividend yield of around 14%. And so far for 2025, the total returns show that QQQI is up 4.5% for the year. This is by far my favorite income ETF. I'm a tech guy. I spent over 20 years at huge tech companies, and I believe in the industry. I'm also a huge fan of NEOS's approach to their covered call ETFs. I love the mix of strong yields and tax efficiency, and you'll see 2 more NEOS funds on this list. And yeah, this index is off the NASDAQ 100, so that's why I'm a fan. Now getting into number 2, which is maybe no surprise, it is SPYI, which is the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF. And I told you I'm a fan of NEOS. And I like to hold the S&P 500 for a bit more diversity. So here it is. This makes up roughly 13.8% of my portfolio. And the current share price is right around $50 as the date of this recording, with a trailing 12-month dividend yield of about 12%. So far in 2025, total returns show that SPYI is up 2.9% for the year. Also keep in mind with these total returns, we had tariffs that impacted some of the performance of these stocks in the beginning of the year. All right, number 3 on my list is QDTE, which is the Roundhill N100 Zero TTE Covered Call Strategy ETF. Told you I love tech, NASDAQ 100 specifically. This pays weekly distributions, and most of this list I have pays monthly. Just wanted to make that note that this is one of the few weekly payers. And this makes up roughly 8.3% of my portfolio. The current share price is about $35 as of the day of this recording, with a trailing 12-month dividend yield of about 42%, a whopping 42%. So far for 2025, total returns show that QDTE is actually flat for the year. So I'm not sure how much longer I'll be holding QDTE. It's actually been a decent performer in terms of income. It performed much better in 2024 and then earlier in the year, but I like that weekly income. I think once I get my dividend snowball to where I want it, I'll slowly transition out of these weekly payers, which have more downside, and move these funds into something like QQQI or JEPQ. All right, number 4 of my holdings is BTCI, which is the, you guessed it, NEOS Bitcoin High Income ETF. And this makes up roughly 7% of my portfolio. The current share price here is about $60 as of the date of this recording, with a trailing 12-month dividend yield of about 18%. If you look at just the year to date, it's much higher than that, but that's the trailing 12 months. Bitcoin's kind of volatile if you haven't known. And so far in 2025, BTCI is up for total return 12.5% for the year. So this is the last of my NEOS funds on this list. I've been investing in Bitcoin for years and I wanted a way to better monetize that investment. I still have some Bitcoin, but I transitioned any new investments into BTCI so I could generate income. YBTC was on this list last month, but I've since sold out of all of that and moved those funds into BTCI. It's just been the better performer for me. And again, I'm a huge fan of NEOS. Yeah, and that's the last one on the list. Going into number 5, JEPQ, which is the JP Morgan NASDAQ Equity Premium Income ETF. Again, NASDAQ heavy. I'm a tech guy. This makes up roughly 6.8% of my portfolio, and the current share price is about $54 as of the date of this recording, with a trailing 12-month dividend yield of about 11%, which is actually really good. I think last year was like hovering around 9%. So far for 2025, total returns show JEPQ down actually for the year, less than 1%, so it's not bad, but it's down for the year. And JEPQ used to be my biggest holding until QQQI was created. JEPQ has been pretty stable and it follows the NASDAQ performance much closer than QQQI. Why I prefer QQQI though is the higher yield, the transparency from NEOS, and the tax efficiency. And it's also just performed better this year. So I'm a huge fan of QQQI and NEOS. Okay, number 6 is HTGC, which is Hercules Capital Incorporated. This is a BDC or business development company. It's the only pure stock on my list. Like everything else is ETFs. So this is the only like straight up stock. This makes up roughly 4% of my portfolio. And the current share price is about $18 as of the date of this recording, with a trailing 12-month dividend yield of about 10.5%. One thing about these trailing 12 months depends on who you look at. So I'm using Snowball. So far for 2025, total returns show HTGC up 6.9% for the year. And I must admit, I haven't invested too much into HTGC since the Silicon Valley Bank debacle. I bought HTGC just after that at around $6 per share. And the stock skyrocketed from there. It's like $18 now, right? So I've just been reinvesting dividends, and this is one of my set it and forget it stocks. Makes it super easy for me. And you can't hate the yield. Okay, number 7 on this list is AIPI, which is the Rex AI Equity Premium Income ETF. This makes up roughly 5.4% of my portfolio. Again, I'm a huge fan of tech, AI optimist. The current share price is about $43 as of the date of this recording, and the trailing 12-month dividend yield is about 34%. And so far in 2025, total returns show AIPI up 1% for the year. I was watching this stock for a while before I actually bought it. The high yield made me super cautious at first, and I wasn't sure if it was a dividend trap or if they could maintain the yield and still have flat or even growing stock price. I liked what I saw, and I'm a huge fan, and I'm a huge AI optimist like I mentioned earlier. So it now sits comfortably in my top 10. It's been growing. This year has been a really good year for it, and the yield has been great. Okay, number 8 is SPYI, which is the Rex FANG and Innovation Premium Income ETF. This makes up roughly 5% of my portfolio. The current share price is about $45 as of the date of this recording, with a trailing 12-month dividend yield of about 27%. So this is why I'm yielding 20% of my portfolio. And so far in 2025, total returns show that SPYI is up just under 1% for the year. And this stock is a finicky one. I know a lot of people are over SPYI and sold out of it, but I'm a fan. Like I mentioned, I spent most of my 20 years at FANG companies in tech, so I know how these companies work. And for me, the upside's there. Yes, SPYI has had a rough year, but it has bounced back and shown some resiliency even during all of the tariff trauma that we went through. The whole market went through. So I'm a fan of SPYI until they prove me otherwise. Now, number 9 on this list, SPYT, which is the Defiance S&P 500 Income Target ETF. This makes up roughly 4.9% of my portfolio. And the current share price here is about $18 as of the date of this recording, with a trailing 12-month dividend yield of about 21%. So this is well above my 12 to 14% target. So far for 2025, total returns show SPYT down actually for over 2% for the year, which means I need to see if I need to reallocate this or just hold steady. With a lot of these, I like playing with some of these ETFs and studying what they do. I haven't bought any other Defiance funds because I'm still on the fence with SPYT. Comment down below if you're a Defiance fan. I don't know if I want to invest any more in either SPYT or more Defiance. So I'd love to hear from Defiance fans. Now, you don't have to convince me, just like let me know what you like about it. Comment down below. Okay, number 10 and the final one on this list is MSTY, which is the Yieldbacks MSTR Option Income Strategy ETF, which is off of MicroStrategy. This makes up roughly 4% of my portfolio, and the current share price is about $21 as of the date of this recording, with a trailing 12-month dividend yield of about 138%. And that share price is volatile, the yield is volatile, Yieldmax is pretty volatile. And so far in 2025, total returns show that MSTY is actually down 24% on NAV, but up almost 20% on market price for the year. And I don't know how much longer I'm gonna hold on to MSTY. It's one of the better Yieldmax performers, but we'll see in future videos what I decide to do. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge holding, but we'll see. It pays for itself in distributions, so I may keep it around, we'll see. So looking ahead next month, I'll continue adding to my NEOS funds, but I'll definitely be keeping my eye on Yieldmax and Defiance. I intentionally keep those holdings relatively small. I learned my lesson in Q4 of 2024 when I held MSTY, NVDY, and TSLY for too long. Comment down below if you invested in Yieldmax. What was your experience? Mine was not great. It was great for like most of 2024 except for the end. So that's it. That was my top 10 list for June 2025 along with their performance. Let me know if you have any questions or thoughts on my approach. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Boom.